Hello, so before I go into this video, I just want to explain a bit about it. I am not mentioning the hotel's name because I don't want to slag off the hotel particularly or any one person. This is my experience, it doesn't mean it's going to be your experience, and this is just on the negative warning signs, because everyone has a different experience staying on Disney property, and whenever I've seen videos about staying on Disney property, the only thing I've ever seen are positives, and that is not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to know, I'm staying at this hotel, I want to focus on the positives of this person's video kind of thing. So I'm not going to mention the hotel specifically because everything that I say could apply to any hotel at all, not just Disney property. So I'm just saying this as this could happen. Just kind of want to point out that these things can happen, and maybe just be wary of these things happening before booking, or keep an eye out for them happening. Maybe put a resolution in place or that kind of thing. This is just two people, two friends sat down having a chat about maybe your upcoming holiday, one that you're about to book, sharing experiences, stuff like that. So go Masnadia, get yourself settled, and as I said, this is going to come across negative, but it's kind of find the light in it. And as I said, this can happen to in any hotel, so remember this can happen, and this is what I shall do if this happens, that kind of thing. I just want you to remember that these things can happen when you go traveling. So the first thing I'm going to mention, I'm not even putting numbers on this because I've not numbered them, that's why. So I'm going to lose track and probably do a few little bits in one. Anyway, the first one is price. That's what we're talking about. So originally we booked our hotel and our Disney stay, everything all together, and that was for 2021, and then us from the UK were not allowed in America still 2021 when we was due to travel in there. So Disney contacted us being you're gonna have to move your holiday because obviously we're not allowed to let you in, you can't stay here, so you're gonna have to move your holiday. So they were we can offer it for the exact same dates but for 2022 instead. So I was right, okay, yeah, let's do that. And they was but it costs X amount more. And we was same dates, same place, same hotel, same everything, same flight, every detail the same. And they're but it costs more. So that was the first thing that you've got to remember. Even though it was the same dates, I think it's because now we're all allowed back in and more people are allowed to go, we'll boost the price up. So just one thing is before booking, just remember that prices can change, or if you have to move your holiday dates, remember that could mean more charge. The second thing might not seem like a big deal to some people. It wasn't a big deal to me, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case it was a big deal to someone, or more specifically to children, this one, or a grown child like myself. So basically, the badges you get in Disney, I am celebrating ... happily ever after, first time visit, things like that. So we got checked in, and whilst we was at check-in, we was going through everything. She was showing us the map, this is where you're staying, here's the shop, here's the cafeteria, blah blah blah. And I was really excited to get back, I'm not gonna lie, my first time. So I was I want a first time visit in case I want a happily ever after badge and stuff like that. So we're like listening to like the person during check-in, and this is like slowly going out my head, because at first I'm thinking like, I want a badge, is she gonna ask us about a badge? And then she asked like, is this your first time visit? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you celebrating? And we're like, this is for our anniversary, blah blah blah. And as this is slowly going out my head, as she's like mentioning other details about the hotel, we at the end of this conversation, basically we walk off to our hotel room, and then I'm like seeing other people with badges, and I'm thinking, she asked us this and we never got badges. And I was like so sore about it. I was like, I want a badge. So yeah, just remember, like, you will not, it's not 100% that you're going to be offered a badge during check-in, which I always thought was the case. Obviously I was wrong. So that's just one thing to like remember, that you might have to like go and ask someone else for one if it is a big deal for you. During check-in as well, so like pre-departure over to Orlando, we bought like on our app, like through Disney, for our hotel check-in, for our stay, we bought 2 magic bands online, and we was like really excited, like you can hook them up online, all this lot. Magic bands, love them. So if you don't know, like magic bands is basically like your key card. You can like get into your hotel with it, you can tap to get into and out of the park. You can even like do pricing up on your band, things like that. So if you're not using your card, basically you can use the app to get into your door, but magic bands, just tap it like a little watch basically. So we had pre-bought them. So during check-in, we're like, she's like, have you got any questions? And we're like, oh yeah, can we have our magic bands please? And she's like, yeah, the shop's over there. And we're like, no, we already bought them. And she's like, yeah, the shop's over there. And I was like, no, like is that where we go pick them up from, or like where do we get them? And she's like, yeah, if you go into the shop you can buy your magic bands there. And we're like, no, we already bought them. And she's like, wait, you already bought them? And we're like, yeah, we've already bought them online. And we're like, show her like, look, we've already bought them. And she's like, oh, okay, let me go see. So she goes behind the reception desk, asks someone else, has a little look, and she comes back and she's like, no, we've not got them. And we're like, okay. And she's like, yeah, sorry about that. And we're like, okay, now what? And she's like, oh, 1 second. And then she goes off and comes back, and we're like, what's going on? Are we getting them? Are we not? Has she got them? Does she not? And she comes back and she's like, yeah, we don't have them. So we're going to give you like this slip, basically like a Disney check, that basically allows you to go in any shop on Disney property and pick up any magic band. So we're like, right, okay, fair enough. You've like helped us out with that. But because of this, we know for any future trips, personally, our preference is like, do not buy a magic band in advance. So in America you can get them sent to you. In the UK, no. So preferably, like for us, maybe for you, there's also more of a smaller selection when you're buying them online as well. But where like if you get over there in person and go hunt for the one that you like, there are loads over there to choose from. So we ended up with different ones that we wasn't originally looking at online. So that's something to know that we are going to do in future. Not do it in advance, but do it over there. So we got to our hotel room and we noticed, like, I don't know if it's every Disney hotel. I can't say like I noticed. I can't say it's like every hotel room. I can't say I went round checking. We noticed a massive gap under the door. And you might be like, okay, yeah, what's the problem? You can get a bit of gust of wind in there if a wind comes along. Like, it's Florida, it's gonna be nice and cool for the room. No, right, you know Florida, you know the lizards. We was worried about one coming under the door because, well, like, that gap's pretty big. I'm pretty sure something can get in. So we was just a bit worried about that. And guess what? A lizard came in. I am not joking you. We had a little lizard visitor. I did help him out, don't worry. He did go outside again and he didn't come back in, but it was kind of proof that, you know, something can get in, which, you know, was a little bit of a worry, because again, it's like, what else could get in? A little bit of a worry. And that also brings me on to another point, which I'll mention later, so just bear in mind the whole under door gap. So this one might not be a big deal for some people. Our curtains, we had like a long window, we had net curtains and then like proper curtains over the top of that, and ours would only like open halfway. So we had like a lot of trees in front of our room anyway, so we didn't get much light in because of that. And then we was like, okay, well, we'll just open the curtains full way and then maybe get a little bit more light in, especially if we open like the net curtains. So we was doing that like in the mornings, and they're only opening halfway, so we're barely getting any light in the room. The room was really dull. Then that means like we have to switch the light on. It's like very like artificial light, and you can tell, and it's still like very low lighting in the room. That might not bother some people. Some people might be like, okay, yeah, but we're barely going to be in the room, it doesn't bother us. Like, okay, fair enough. But if you're someone who needs your curtain open the full way, if it's going to annoy you, the fact that it's not, just remember this, to like when you go in your room, check your curtains, and then you can like, you know, maybe like call up, go to reception, be like, oh, is there a room that has like curtains that work properly and stuff like that, if it is a big deal to you or whoever is going. So I got ill when I was over there. Like, I was in like, remember like Florida weather, September. So I was in like a hoodie, t-shirt, like joggers, overshorts, sat in bed with an extra blanket on, with gloves on, with fluffy socks on. That sounds like a bit OTT for Florida, doesn't it? So that's how ill I was basically. And the air conditioning in the room was just on constantly. Like, no fault of mine or my partner's, it just wouldn't switch off. So obviously with me being like that ill, we're trying to get it to switch off, but it wouldn't switch off. I mean, like, it would switch off for like half an hour at the most, and then you'd hear it click and it'd come back on, and then you'd hear it going. And that was like, we obviously was barely in the room during the day, but at night that was going off all the time, and it made Kay keep getting up to try and switch it off just so like I could sleep and wasn't freezing, because as I said, how ill I was, we needed the AC off. But it just kept clicking and switching back on, and Kay's doing everything he can, and you know, Kay's pretty good at this stuff, but obviously it was like an AC problem. So if this is like happens to you, like, and this is an issue, try it out for about like an hour or something, if it'll switch off properly. If not, you know, ring up, see if they can do anything about it. We didn't, because it was like, we was already into our stay. I've got stuff everywhere. How ill I am, I don't want to like pack it up and move it to another room. I was like in that kind of like ill state where you just want to like lie there and just do nothing, even though I'm freezing. If like, you know, someone was to like literally like pick me up and help me, like, fair enough, but I don't want to put that on someone. So a big part of our holiday that was like dragged down was no fault of anyone's. We were stuck in a hurricane, so that meant that the park shut and we had to be in quarantine and stay in our hotel room. And they gave us like curfews. Like I said, we weren't allowed like out. We weren't allowed out of our hotel at all. So remember the gap under the door thing that I told you about? We had danger flood warnings. So we're on the ground floor, like staying right next to a like bit of water, like a little marshy land kind of thing. So we're like, if that's flooding, that's coming right up to us. Like, we've got flood warnings. That's going to come under our door. What do we do? So we're like, we have to line the back of the door with towels. And this is what I mean by like the gap on the door. This is why it was worrying us. Mainly because of this like body of water in front of our hotel room. So other than that, we're like checking online and in Facebook groups and stuff for updates, because our TV had like no update about anything on it. It was just like parks are shut. And when we were like allowed to go into the lobby and reception and stuff, lobby reception area really full, but no like signs, no information, no like leaflets, no one going about telling you what's what. There was just no information given to us, which we then had to like find online. And then there was a situation of food. So everyone who's like on property has to stay on property. You can't like go out for your food and stuff. You have to like eat on property. So we're like getting a bit of snacks in because, you know, we're on lockdown. And then it was like, okay, so like meal times, and people are like, yeah, the restaurant area is like still open for you to go and get food and stuff. So like obviously we want to go and get food, and there was no plant-based stuff. Like, I'm on a plant-based diet for health reasons, and there was nothing that I could eat. There was like no allergy friendly options. So this is something like to bear in mind if you're like, if it comes to the worst and you're stuck in a hurricane, you're stuck in your hotel and you've got someone with you, or you have like an allergy or something, you've got to like really search like in the shop. Like, things were flying off the shelves in the shops, so like that was a bit of a worry. Like, what if we can't eat? Or like, Kay's fine, like what if I can't eat? So for the next couple of days I lived off hummus and pretzels, and I think that is it. For 2 days on lockdown, I lived off hummus and pretzels. Oh, and crisps. That was it, because like I wasn't allowed like proper food because they weren't supplying that to me. So again, that's kind of a big deal. Like, imagine living off hummus and crisps and pretzels for 2 days straight. Got a bit boring, even though I love that food. But I said that's the only thing that was actually available to me, and that was actually not sold out. This kind of turned into a little bit of a gate situation. So you know, you like your hair towels, your wraps. So I took one of them, because when I'm abroad and washing my hair, I always put one in my hair in one of them. I do it at home, so when I wash my hair I take one of them. I weigh it with me. So that's in the bathroom. I'm going ready to wash my hair in the shower, and I go to get my bits together to put in the bathroom, and I notice my hair towel's gone. Search around for it, back in suitcases, back in cupboards, drawers, everything. It is not there. So we're like, oh, where's it gone then? So Kay like goes to the reception. I'm like waiting on my hair towel. Like, Kay comes back and is like, yeah, the maid took it. And I'm like, what? Why? And apparently like Disney staff thinks that a maid took it thinking it was a towel, and it needs to go into cleaning, and there's no way we're ever going to get it back. And I'm like, okay, well now what? And they're like, yeah, you just have to use a normal towel. I'm like, that is an annoyance for me. Like, look at the length of this hair. Like, Disney towels are not big. That's it. That's another thing for you. Disney towels are not big. So like, the length of this hair, just bear this in mind. If you're taking a hair towel, keep it completely separate, out of the way. Put it in the safe if you have to. Also, another thing worth checking, like when you first go in, if this is a big deal for you. So I wore some sandals that didn't agree with me abroad. Oh, absolutely fine here, but once we're in Disney, no, I hated my feet. So I needed a bath, you know, with like salts, calm my feet down kind of thing. So I ran, beautiful bath, got in the bath, and the water just like went straight out of it because the plug wasn't working properly. So I'm just sat there in like a cold bath of nothing. So if baths are like a precious thing to you, or you think this like could be a thing that could happen to you, check your bath for like 5 minutes when you go in. You know, run a bit of water with the plug in and come back in about 5 minutes and check it. And you know, if it's all drained out, then you know, kind of like give a call, go reception and be like, bath's not working, or the plug, bit of a situation, kind of need a bath or whatever. You know, some people need baths, so put that on your like little list of to do things when you first get into the hotel, if that is if a bath is a big deal. This was not so much of a big deal, maybe it is to you. So you go in, your little Disney TV's on and it's all cute and stuff, but then when you're on lockdown and you're like just staring at this one screen, you need that to change. So we were trying to figure out how to change it over, and just using like the remote, can't change it over. Again, not a big deal. Kay did Google it and find out how to eventually change it over. I can't tell you what he did because I have no idea when it comes to technology, to be honest. So maybe that's something that you have to Google, again, if that's a big deal to you, if you don't already know that is. Oh yeah, you know, you go in, you get your refillable mug because it is absolutely worth it. We're drinking like bottled water all day throughout the parks. But then you get back to your hotel and you use your refillable mug for the drinks machines because, you know, the price for it is really good. So we got one of those each, and we noticed a lot of the times with the drinks machines, like some things were like out of order, some things, you know, just not working, some like full machines not working, so there's long queues on the ones that are working. We even noticed somehow, not sure how this happens, but somehow people putting like their own empty bottles, not a refillable mug, but their own empty bottles in one and filling it up. Not sure how you can do that, but that's just something to be wary of, that not all the drinks machines are working at the same time. We are at the last one. So taxis, you might want to get a taxi quickly to a reservation, or like we did, over to Universal. So on the app, and we're like, where's pickup? And Kay's like, oh, it'll be at the reception, won't it? Where we got dropped off, because it says like there's a little bit of a taxi thing there. So I'm like, okay. And like we booked the taxi, and the taxi says like, oh, it'll be like right outside your hotel building, because where we're staying there's different buildings, so it'll be right outside the one you're staying in. Right, okay. Kay's like, yeah, but the receptionist said that it'll be back at reception, like that area. So I'm like, we'll go there then. So we go to reception. Receptionist is like, yeah, you're getting picked up from here. I check on my app and it's like, no, taxi's right outside our building. So we had to like run all the way to our building. Taxi sat right outside it. So bear that in mind, if it says on your app it's picking you up at a certain point, it's picking you up there. Don't go and ask the receptionist where your taxi is, because it's not going to be where they say it is. It's going to be where it says it is on the app. So I should have trusted my instincts on that, because I was right with that one, not Kay / the receptionist. So anyway, as I said, like, this can be generalized to like any hotel, not just Disney. This is just my experience with my Disney hotel, because I never like made a summary of it. I never reviewed it for you. I just put out my vlogs, and this is like a year ago now. Things might have changed, but these are things that like I have to remember myself, like this went wrong, so do this to like help prevent it maybe. So I thought I would share this with you because it might help you. You might be going on a big Disney trip soon, and honestly, like, I feel like the more tips you get, the better. So hopefully this has helped you out, and goodbye.